Hello, beautiful queen. Welcome to another episode of Queenlight Blossoming with Vanja, in which we are going to dive into that last part called Vanja, that human divine being that will be with you on this blossoming journey. I have to say that it has been very interesting preparing for this episode because I didn't know exactly how to approach this, how to put this complexity into this short video. But I decided to just make it about my own blossoming journey or the awakening journey and share with you how I got to where I am today. So in this episode, we will be following this human along this very interesting roller coaster ride, starting from the beginning. I was born on 6th of July in 1989 in Belgrade, Serbia, and I was in a loving family, and I was a pretty normal child. I was a bit more sensitive and emotional, but a lot of projectors and people who are born in July are. So it's this Cancer sun and this connection to the moon energy, right? Because the moon is the ruler of the Cancer. But I also did have some intuitive gifts, which would actually show up as dreams. But some of my dreams were really hard and heavy. I would dream of some witches and some thieves and some really dark energies. So my parents called up a healer to do something and help me create boundaries and help me use my free will to tell them they're not welcome. And soon after that, I stopped having those dark dreams, but I also closed up my intuition. I was really scared of the things that I could see or feel, so I started closing up. Also, I noticed that my empathy and this highly sensitive person, sensitivity wasn't that normal. So it was expected of me, like, not to cry, to be a good girl, not to be angry, all the things that we learn as women growing up, right? And that our parents teach us because they're just doing the best that they can and they want to protect us and make us equipped for the world that we are growing into and jumping in, right? I was a very creative kid. I used to love spending my time with my little desk and my pencils and papers and drawing or writing. I used to also spend a lot of time in my garden with our magnolia tree. We lived in a house and I just loved being in nature. And I remember having my wand. I had like a princess wand with a star on top. And I would imagine how I would color things and change things for better and make them more beautiful and loving. I really felt this magic and connection to nature and beauty, which I think all of the kids do. We just grow out of it. When I was 5 years old, I was a part of this school, this drawing school, and my artwork was selected amongst other kids' art to be in this group exhibition in Biennale in Belgrade in Oktobarski Salon. And I remember going to the opening and getting to my artwork, and it was this house with two flamingo birds, which is interesting because Serbia doesn't have flamingos, but I found them somewhere. And I remember turning around and standing there posing for my mom to take a photo, and I remember thinking, I'm gonna be an artist when I grow up. So this was a very important moment in my life when I was 5 years old that became my focus and my intention for the next many years. with that passion, I went into Faculty of Applied Arts in Belgrade. First, I didn't know whether to study fashion or graphic design or painting, but then decided to go for illustration. Then at the end of the studies, I moved to animation, and then I went into a master course, which was in communication design in London, and I got a DNA award, which was amazing. And I had 6 solo exhibitions, and I also opened a design and art studio with my then partner Stefan, who was a graphic designer, and we had that for 9 years. So my career was rising. And along this journey, I became an overachiever and a perfectionist. I remember that I couldn't sit down with a friend for coffee and enjoy it fully because my mind was thinking about the next thing that I have to do. I felt like I had this little designer inside of me that had this like whip and like, ooh, you have to work, you have to work. I felt like I was chasing something and I had to do and achieve certain goals by a certain age. But the interesting thing is that I had a lot of time to listen to different inspiring teachers like Tony Robbins. I remember I was listening to him a lot. These self-development coaches and interesting teachers that I could absorb because I was just painting and I had a lot of time to think about the world and think about my inner world, and through my art also question what is important for me to say or to show. And one very interesting breakthrough happened at my master's in London when I was asked to make a project, my master's project, inspired by anything that I would love to explore and research deeper. I chose flowers because they were these beautiful shapes that nature, as an amazing artist, created. And as I was researching deeper into their lives and into how they're used, I discovered flower essences. And through flower essences, I first heard about chakras. So art and design opened the spiritual world to me. And then when I went back to Serbia, I started going deeper into the healing journey. I was just curious to see what is yoga and started doing it from this physical approach into the spiritual, the breath work, then meditation, started meditating every day because my creativity was getting better. I didn't even know what I needed to, let's say, heal. I didn't have any visible pains or any terrible traumas from my childhood. I thought everything was okay, but I did feel that when somebody would ask me a question about my family or about myself, I would get like super emotional, even start shaking. And also that I felt really insecure that if there was a group of 3 or more people, I couldn't really feel comfortable talking. I also had a harder time expressing myself and my emotions. So I would paint them and just process them and like, this is what I've been thinking about. And that's why I think my mom is still so amazed that I do what I do today, where I guide others and I talk about my emotions and I show up in this way. After yoga and meditation, I heard about Reiki, which was an incredible thing where I first discovered energy healing. So I remember I actually had some physical pains, and as I would put my hands there, it would start like moving and opening, and I could feel the effect that it had. I also realized that there is this magical world that I felt and knew about as a kid that I would hear in this Reiki circles and classes. So it really opened up this whole spiritual world to me. I also became very interested in numerology and in tarot and oracle cards, and all of this knowledge started compiling, and I created a solo exhibition in 2019 called The Inner Game, where I made 9 artworks with women which I felt were never portrayed in this way. They were kind of inspired by models, but in different shapes and different colors. And also, they would be talking about deeper emotional and inspirational themes. So every artwork had a message. I feel that this inner game exhibition was also a very important part of my journey, where after the exhibition, I started becoming more like the woman that I was painting, because I didn't really feel like that, right? I was just learning all these things and painting them, but I didn't feel that calm, or I didn't feel that confident, and I didn't feel that connected to my intuition. But in the years after that, everything changed. In 2020, I met my now husband Andy through Instagram, and meeting him has also been a crazy upgrade. I met this divine masculine who exemplified what a healthy masculine looks like in a man and also in myself, because I was a lot in my own masculine and I didn't know how to work with it. And so this beautiful relationship helped me heal. He was also a men's coach and a men's leader. He has a community for men called Kings of Hearts, and that has also been very inspiring. But I never thought that I would be doing that. In 2021, Andy and I moved to Mexico, to Tulum, and there I shifted upside down. I remember the first week we came there, I was like, this is heaven. I love this. People are talking about spirituality. I was this naive girl that was like, oh my God, they're speaking my language. And I was believing everyone, and then learned many, many lessons there. For example, that not everyone lives what they speak, but we'll talk about that more. And I also was like, okay, I want to stay here, and this is kind of expensive, so I need to make more money, and I'm gonna make an exhibition. And I started working really hard. But end of that first week, my computer screen shut down, turned black, and my phone fell from my pocket and a car ran over it, so it got destroyed. And the universe was telling me, slow down. Because I was like, connecting to the people that were in Belgrade. I was also working, I was painting, and I wasn't present and I wasn't connecting to the place that I moved to. I love how universe has these incredible, uncomfortable sometimes ways of, putting a leg so that you slip into the right place. So that's what happened then. And also after many different ceremonies, one being an ayahuasca experience, I felt how I'm becoming more and more sensitive and how I can see and feel different things. And in that one ayahuasca ceremony, I heard, you are a healer. And I was like, oh, no. Like, you're not speaking to me. You should be speaking to someone else. I am an artist. I identified so strong with like being an artist that I couldn't fully hear it. And for the next couple of months, I pushed that away and I continued preparing this exhibition that was called Our Nature. I was painting beautiful spirit animals, but I wasn't painting it from this vibration of peace and joy, which I wanted to share with others. So it didn't make sense and things weren't aligning, and I just felt like I was carrying this big weight and like trying to pull something that didn't want to move. And soon after, I burnt out. There was this one day when I was on the floor crying, and Andy was standing over me and he was like, hey, my love, I think you should take a couple of days just to rest. And I was like, what do you mean, a couple of days to rest? He's like, yeah, just like 3 days to do nothing. And I'm like, how can I do nothing for 3 days? I was such an achiever and such a workaholic that I couldn't rest for 3 days. And then I realized, yeah, something's wrong with me if I can't do that. So let's try 3 days. And as I let go of any of those habits that I had, I realized that I don't know how to fully enjoy my day. You know, like, what do you do? So I was like, okay, let me try, like, ooh, I'm gonna follow my heart. And I would sit on a scooter in Tulum and I would drive and I would say, okay, tell me where to turn. And I started truly feeling like, ooh, I want to turn left. Like, no, 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 now I want to turn right. And incredible synchronicities started happening and I started meditating much deeper. And those 3 days turned into 2 months in which I thought that I was going to be a housewife. Because all of a sudden I was like, you know what? I'm going to let go of all of these goals that I had. Like, I actually just want to be happy. And like, what does that look like? How can I be peaceful and happy? And as I fully relaxed and opened up, that's when spirit could guide me and my other gifts started coming online. In my journaling, I started hearing my soul. In the healing sessions that I did for my friends, which I had to do because I just finished the initiation into clear light healing, which is kind of like Reiki but different symbols. And in those sessions, I could feel this crazy energy, and I started seeing things, and I started releasing the rules that I learned through these different techniques because my sisters invited me to do so and trusted me to do so. So I could, okay, like start saying what I'm hearing and start allowing also the sounds that were coming through, the light language that was coming through. And even though it wasn't new for me, I was already listening to channelers and enjoying that beautiful energy. I never really thought that it would come to me and that it would come to me so naturally. So I didn't go to a teacher to learn how to channel. I didn't go to somebody to help me with light language. I was going to different ceremonies where people were doing that and I was listening. But yeah, it came through alive. And at first I was judging it. I was like, oh, it shouldn't sound like that. I heard it like differently from someone else. But then slowly I learned to trust and allow, and then feel what it is doing and see how much it is helping my client, my friend. And things started changing. Women's circles were something that really helped me on my journey in Tulum when everything was falling apart and I was changing so much. Women's circles were places where I could see others that were going through a similar thing, where I could share and feel like I'm not judged, where I could feel loved and supported, and that every time I would leave the women's circle, I would feel much better than how I came into it. So yeah, Queenlight has been birthed somewhere along this journey when I had another dark night of the soul when I moved to Tepoztlan from Tulum with my husband. And Tepoztlan was this vacuum where Tulum was like busyness and all of these things. Tepoztlan really invited me to empty everything and see what's important. That's when name Queenlight came through for my women's circles. I didn't want to call them Vanya's circles. I was like, this is much bigger than me and I'm just a part of this. I stopped painting for 2 years. I had to really let go of that fully in order to allow these other gifts to come online. And then when I moved to Canada, I started feeling called to paint again. And the interesting thing is my Wacom board with which I do the digital painting didn't work. The driver didn't connect for a long time. I tried many different ways. I contacted their support. And then one morning I realized that I still don't fully want it. I still have this fight with it and all of this pain that I have been through in this career and all of this struggle that has been built up from this thing which was something I loved so much, and my hobby and my creativity, my expression. So that morning I hugged my Wacom board and I cried with it, and I just felt like all this pain was melting away, and I was like, I want you, I choose you, I really want to paint. Like I decided, and when we decide and when we choose, that's when things can align. That's when universe knows what you want. So the day after I sent another email to the support, they sent me a link, I downloaded it, and it started working. And since then, I have been doing these healing arts where I do different kind of things, but it's all connected to me helping people and inspiring people to go from this old, gray, hard, heavy, confusing, distorted reality to this easy, beautiful, colorful, aligned, full of synchronicities, full of nature, full of emotions, reality, which we are moving into with the earth. You can feel that the vibration is rising, and so we're called to leave this old behind and to allow this transition. And channeling has really been the way that I have learned the things that I will share with you throughout this series, because I guess because of my artistic eye and sense, I see a lot. So I will be painting different things that I'm seeing to help bring that closer to you, to see what we usually do not see, and to give you these beautiful messages from my spirit guides and other people's spirit guides and different beings that I have been receiving, and also to put that down to earth, because I have gone to the extreme of like, ooh, I just want to fly, but realizing then that I chose this life. I chose this earth because it is so beautiful, and I can walk the path as a human and as a divine being. And the human part is the part that feels uncomfortable recording this. The part that has all these habits and pains and traumas from this lifetime or other lifetimes. So I'm still working on those. So just for you to know that I'm not somebody to be put on a pedestal. I'm walking this journey beside you. I might be a little bit in front, and somebody else is in front of me, but that doesn't matter because we're all equal and we're here to guide each other home. We're here to support each other and co-create together. So this has been a little bit about my journey. I'm looking forward to opening other different stories as they align with the theme of an episode. And I am looking forward to hearing your journeys. If you feel like sharing something in the comments, that would be amazing. Or if you have more questions for me, please share that as well. And yeah, I'm looking forward to what the next episode is gonna open up.